And speaking of financial assistance, many people are depending on the help of FEMA to make it through. Joining us once again, Peter Herrick from FEMA. I guess, Peter, to start off, what is the timeline for those people who have applied to actually get money in their hands?
So again, it's going to be a process a little different for everyone based on the accessibility of their home, where they are in the process. Right now, it's taken up to about 3 weeks to get an inspector out to people's homes just because of the sheer volume. I think we're over 760,000 people have already registered for FEMA assistance. After that inspection, that information will come back to us, and once we get that determination point, that money's in people's accounts within 48 hours. But one of the things we're trying to encourage people is, we're not the end-all be-all, we're not the end answer.
Sure.
And so they need to continue to pursue other recovery options, and we may be able to help connect them with some of those options.
We've been hearing a lot about the folks at the GRB, the others that are still evacuated. Explain a little bit about the difference between short-term and long-term housing. What are the maximums that people can, that can hope to expect aid for?
Yeah, so obviously we're talking a little bit about sheltering here. Short-term is a little more of an intermediary issue where we try and bridge the gap to people where they're going to be able to fix their home and move back in, and it's going to be a shorter period of time. Long-term is people's homes have been destroyed, molds everywhere, and we're talking about a longer-term solution. On the short-term side, we can provide assistance through rental assistance, where we'll pay for people to rent an apartment or a house at fair market value. We've also got the transitional sheltering assistance program, or the hotel program, and we know there's been some issues there with people finding hotels. What we're encouraging people to do is to continue to pursue options and make sure they're talking to those hotels, because that vacancy is changing all the time.
But can you give them a rough dollar figure, like for short-term, housing? What can you reasonably expect in terms of assistance from FEMA?
So on the transitional sheltering, they don't have to worry about the money. We're going to pay the hotel directly. They don't have to see it. I think they're looking at about a 14-day window, and then it can be re-extended based on need, and they're going to have to show that they're making progress and some other things. On the rental assistance, we've expedited up to 2 months of rental assistance for people. I can't remember what the fair market value is, but we'll provide that amount, and then if they choose to find an apartment or a house that's more than that, they're going to be responsible for the difference. But I can get that number to you on what the fair market value is.
Sure, but gives people an idea of how many days or weeks they have to play with.
Yeah,
Right.
And is there federal loans available to people who want to repair or rebuild?
So we cover the grant side of the house. Our colleagues over at the Small Business Administration help with low-interest disaster loans, and I can't remember the figures for each breakdown, but it's part of the process. So when they register with us, we share some of that information with the SBA, and they'll reach out and provide a loan application so people can access some of those resources, and they can use it for things like repairing or replacing the home. They can use it for short-term housing if that's what they need. So there's a lot of options for them, and we don't want them to shut the door on any one part of their recovery.
And you are hiring, right?
We are. Workintexas.com. Keep checking, because we're going to be posting more jobs all the time. It's going to be in a variety of different fields, so we want people to make sure that they're checking that out. It's one option to help people towards recovery.
All right, Peter Herrick with FEMA. Good to see you. Thanks. You're becoming a regular here.
Thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you.